Hey, Shalom. I want to start out giving infinite honors, glory, and prayers to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekah Kwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, rule well, teaches the truth 100%, no cut. Double Shalom and salutation to the Akim, pushing His word across the four winds in truth, faith, and sincerity, giving all diligence. I want to just get into a quick lesson out of one, rather as our Lord's will, is edifying to the point, just centered around equity. Centered around sound judgment. Okay, and that comes with first and foremost having the fear of the Lord. Okay, having faith in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah and fear of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. Okay, and receiving instructions. Okay, getting yourself together by way of the words of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, cleansing your ways, as it talks about in Psalms 119:9, wherewithal a young man shall cleanse his ways by taking heed unto the word, man. Okay, these scriptures. Okay, and applying these scriptures, man. That way you can grow in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Okay, you can start making more sound judgments. Okay, you learn to be more patient, more merciful. Okay, you be long suffering. Okay, and just growing in the fruits of the spirit, man, to make righteous judgments. Okay, judgment calls, because the Lord gives the judgment, but judgment calls, so to speak. In situations, because we judge every day. Okay, when you stop at a red light, that's a judgment call. You see it's red, you stop. That's a good judgment call, because if you don't stop and you run a red light, what can happen to you? Your police will pull your ass over, or you get into a wreck. We make judgment calls every day, all day, but let's just get into it, man. In particular, dealing amongst the body and just dealing with the world, man. Okay, a situation that we, come into where you have to make judgment calls, man. But it comes with a level of understanding before you make that final decision. All right, we're going to get into that. This is Proverbs 1. We're going to start at 1, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, the king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instructions of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity. All right, and let's get that word equity. And it reads equity, the online etymology. It reads quality of being equal or fair impartially. It says that which is equal, right, or just to all concerned. And that's the point, man. We learned that within this ministry, man. Not to have respect of persons. Okay, none of that, man, because the Lord is not a respect of a person. The Lord is just in everything that he does, man. So if we coming into that state of being judges, okay, being trained to be judges, we have to learn these things, man. Equity, okay, fair judgment, okay, not being impartial, okay, but being just, okay, listening to situations, and that all these instructions, okay, to how to become just are given to us from Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. These scriptures, man. Okay, we just have to apply and study to show ourselves approved, man. When you read these scriptures, when you read the accounts of our forefathers, you have to actually submerge yourself in what you read, descriptive reading. Okay, you have to visualize it. You have to examine the situations as you read it. Don't just read it as a comic. No, examine, be there, put yourself there, man, and you will see the different situations, the wisdom, okay, that our forefathers used, man. Okay, the mindset of our forefathers. Okay, how they became down with that righteous judgment. All right, we're reading of King Solomon. King Solomon, they had two women. You read about the account, I believe it's the book of Kings, First Kings or Second Kings. You read about the account where these two women, okay, had babies, and one of them, suffocated her baby, laid on him or something like that, and then somewhere in that nature. And the other one, matter of fact, let's see if I can find that. Let's see. Let me see. Salaki. Let me see. vague as hell, but shit, let's see if I can get it with this. Okay, boom. Hey, that's spirit. This is First Kings chapter 3 and verse 15. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream, and he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant. Uh yeah. It said, and stood before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwelled in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass that third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other one said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. You could just imagine the bickering that's going on, these two women, the emotion that's drawn into this situation. So there's a whole bunch of commotion just going on between those two. Okay. It says, Then said the king, the one said, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other said, Nay, but this son is the dead, and my son is the living. So you just a whole, we're going to get to the bottom of nothing, just, letting them two go on. So the King Solomon had to what? Had to sit there and listen. Okay, marinate on what's going on and find a solution to cut straight through the bullshit, man. Okay, it says, and the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. That's beautiful, man. He sat there, used wisdom and understanding. Okay, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Okay, he observed the situation. He's seeing these two women, the commotion, the emotion, intent that's involved in it. You know how women get. And you ain't gonna be able to settle it with just, calm words. It has to be goddamn, you have to cut through that bullshit, especially with women. You just got to come with straight judgment. This is what it's gonna be. And the truth is gonna be exposed. But let's get it. It says, and the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. See, and knowing that King Solomon knew that, okay, the woman the truth was gonna be revealed within this dire situation, because the woman who the child was actually for, you're gonna see. Okay, she's gonna come forth, and instead of sacrificing her child, okay, she rather just see a child live and give it over. You about to get it. This beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. Beautiful example. It says, Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. The truth came out, man. It says, And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. A wicked ass woman. See, the truth, this sword, this is a perfect example of let's get it. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick. We'll get back to it. This is a perfect example of Hebrews, the 4th chapter. This is Hebrews 4 and 12. It says, For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. And what did King Solomon apply? The wisdom of Yahweh, man. Okay. It says, Piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and a joint and marrow, and it is discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart. And that's what King Solomon used through the spirit, this word, this understanding, the instruction, the wisdom, okay, of Yahweh, man. Okay. He used it, man. It got straight to the point. All right, the truth was revealed, who the mother was and who the mother wasn't. Beautiful example. Let's get back into it. What that was, First Kings 3. What it was, 3, and let me see. Okay, boom. This is back in First Kings chapter 3 and verse Verse 27. It says, Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment. And that was fair. That was a beautiful example, man. Well, let's get back into that Proverbs. Okay. Back to King Solomon, aka Yahweh Shah, But let's get it. It says, this is Proverbs 1:3. It says, To receive the instructions of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion, moral discernment. It says, A wise man will hear and will increase in learning. It says, And a man of understanding shall obtain unto wise counsel the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Okay. Studying to show yourself approved, applying the precepts to the best of your ability. You fall, you make a mistake. You make sure you holding on. When you fall down, make sure you keep your faith. Okay. And the Lord will lift you back up, man. But you got to keep the faith, man. You got to keep striving, keep fighting, man. This is a fight, man. No matter what, you have to fight, okay, to constantly grow within the ministry, man, and to move forward. All right. It says, A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall obtain unto wise counsel, man. Taking heed unto these words, man, the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, to be able to what? To judge correctly in any situation, whether it's within or without. Okay, whether it's within yourself or outside of yourself, whether you're in the council, okay, or you moving around on a job in the world, whatever, amongst the body, the brothers, the council come up. You have to apply these scriptures, man. And a lot of times it takes patience, man. You have to suffer things, grow, and learn from your mistakes, learn from your past experiences, man. Okay, within this ministry, man. And it'll take you a long way. All right, now let's get this. All right, get back on hand. This is, let me see. What was it? Let me see, let me see. Salaki. All right. This is Sirach, aka Ecclesiastes 11:7. It says, Blame not before thou hast examined the truth, man. That's the center of the lesson, man. Gathering instruction. You learn to be patient. You learn to be long suffering, merciful. You learn to listen more than you talk and examine the situation before you make judgments, before you make decisions. Okay, a judgment calls. It says, Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. I mean, you have to take it in. Understand first and then rebuke, then correct when it comes to different situations, man. Okay, a counsel of whatever it may be, but it comes with what sometimes you have to just be long suffering and patience. You might not have the answer, okay, right then and there. It might be in a situation. Okay, well, all right, it ain't gonna be resolved this way. So we're gonna sit on it. Okay, we're going to just sit on it and we're going to let time tell it. And if that situation, the same situation, continue to happen over and over again, that's your answer. Okay, now you've been what? Long suffering. You've been patient. You showed mercy. And now here comes the judgment, the fair judgment. Okay, it says, Answer not before thou hast heard the cause, neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. So in a lot of situations, you have to just listen more. Okay, you listen to the situation. Okay, well, we don't have an answer right then and there. Okay, it's not getting nowhere. All right. So, okay, we're going to sit on it. We're going to let it go. It happens again. Still not getting nowhere. Sit on it. Let it go. Then the third time is like, okay, that's an understanding. This constant situation keeps happening. Okay, this is the problem. This is how we're going to deal with the problem. And that comes with what? Follow the instructions of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. The root of wisdom is to fear the Lord. And you will grow in knowledge, wisdom, understanding, judgments, and equity. Okay, being fair in decision making, being just in your decision making. Okay, because we're being groomed into judges. Lord willing, we are of that elect. But with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and to the point. Till next time, shalom.